So one of the things we've been hearing in the media and even from clients is that perhaps the market, loosely defined as say the S&P 500, is expensive, overvalued, maybe getting on the end of being expensive. And I think overall, regarding the S&P 500 index of 500 companies, if a person is investing directly in the index, I might tend to agree with that index is getting expensive right now. Maybe the last few days the market's come down, the last couple of weeks the market's come down, maybe not so much, but maybe fairly valued or a little bit overvalued. But it's very important to take that news bite, that sensationalized news bite, and break it apart. And I'll try to do that really briefly. So in the S&P 500, 500 companies, 7 or 8 of those companies make up a disproportionate calculation in the weighting of that S&P 500 index. So basically, the larger the company, the larger the market cap, the more bearing or the more percentage of the overall calculation in the S&P 500. So 8 companies, and you would be able to name them off, the biggest, say, tech companies, the biggest companies that investors are banking on them being most involved in the AI craze, the artificial intelligence craze. Those companies in the first half of this year, 2023, increased their market cap, the size of their companies, by $3.5 trillion of market cap. Maybe not. That may or may not be sustainable. We'll see. Now, obviously, there's a lot of promise in that technology. Maybe some of that valuation and some of that run-up is warranted. Maybe it's not. But when you look at the S&P, those 7 or 8 companies might make up double-digit percentage of the overall calculation of the S&P 500. In fact, if you look at the other 492 or so companies in the S&P, for the first half of this year, they were virtually flat or in some cases even negative, while the S&P was up double digits because of those big companies that have a big calculation in the performance of the S&P 500. That's where professional management, whether it's us directly working with you, picking good quality stocks, good quality companies, or whether we're hiring a manager that maybe has a niche where they're investing in dividend paying stocks or dividend growing stocks, or maybe they're enacting a strategy where they try to emphasize certain industries or area of the markets based on their outlook, or maybe they're trying to pull away or get out of certain sectors that they think might be vulnerable in the current economic environment. That's where they come in and create a lot of value in the past in situations like this, because there are many companies out there that make products that you and I have to buy, we can't or won't live without, that pay dividends and grow dividends that are not overly valued or overly expensive to buy, because that's not what people have been chasing this year. So good companies that make products that we have to have, that we can't live without, whether it's pharmaceutical or medical type companies, or whether it's companies that make household goods that we have to have or won't live without, or utilities, energy, things that make products that we tend to not be able to live without or won't live without. Maybe it's technology, telecommunications. So there are certainly areas that are fairly priced and companies that are fairly priced historically. It's just becoming a little bit more of a challenge to seek those out and separate the noise from the facts on that. So again, keep that in mind when you're looking at the S&P 500 index. It's not evenly weighted. It's been heavily skewed, probably more heavily skewed than any time in history, toward a small basket of companies.